when it comes to having work like this, right? Whether it's approved or not, this is all your work. This is all unaffiliated. This is fan work. How do you feel about when, or let me preface it with this. As a gamer, right? Typically, my experience with any sort of games is just the form that's being projected on my TV with the controller in hand. But then there are some people, some companies that like to enrich their worlds or enhance their worlds with things such as comics or different, short films maybe to promote, using live action trailers and things like that. And these different elements I can find enrich or enhance an experience that make you go farther beyond than what you had already played and so on and so forth. How do you feel about unofficial works, whether it be this one or not, also trying to enrich or enhance or maybe put their own spin on different series or different franchises, you can even just use this as an example. And, having, video games are video games, but then people, companies like to sometimes enrich or expand the universes with material outside of games, like through the form of comics, and so on and so forth. Through both official and of unofficial works, how do you think that impacts a game's atmosphere and world? And the reason why I ask this too is because I actually am a collector of video game memorabilia and merchandise.
I think your hat made it pretty clear.
Yeah. Well, the hat in my avatar picture was something my mother made for me as a kid that still fits.
Nice.
So I don't know if that means I have a large head as a kid or what that means, but it's great, and I love it. But I collect merchandise, and it's all officially licensed merchandise. And there's some pretty cool unofficial merch out there, but I'm part of a forum whose slogan is "Get official or get out." And of course, we're not mean about it. It doesn't mean to come off as abrasive, but following that same principle though, to media consumption in these franchises, what do you think about that? I know that's a loose question, but to the best of your ability, how would you respond?
Well, I think that get official or get out is valid. Is valid until a certain point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing. When you got stuff that was not official, usually it was actually crappy stuff. Because at a specific point in time, video games are pretty young. It's a very young medium. So at a specific point in time, the first games that started having figurative objects, figurative characters, things like Super Mario, the NES, the Genesis, the SNES, all those things. The people who were playing those games as kids are adults now. Only now.
Mm-hmm.
So, the people who have the ability to be careful about what they are crafting, crafting them with love, and being professional about it, eventually end up creating a new form of merchandise, which is unofficial, but is of actually quite high quality. So, it's like, in my view, I think that point of view is incredibly valid until a specific point in time. Because for example, I have a set of cards I bought online, a pack of cards, the Cards of Legend. You know them?
I'm familiar, yes.
They are the Legend of Zelda, it's a Legend of Zelda deck of cards. And they look pretty cool. They look amazingly cool. And I went to New York when I went in November for various reasons. I actually talked to Opera America about Majora, and they were actually quite excited about it. So that's a cool thing. But they have to wait about the copyright stuff. But I was Opera America is actually quite close to Nintendo World in New York. So I went to Nintendo World, and they had a pack of cards a Zelda pack of cards, and the official Zelda pack of cards seems to me to be of inferior quality than the Cards of Legend that I bought. First, because the art is the official art of the game, and in my opinion, it doesn't really fit with the theme of of playing cards. And the Cards of Legend used the exact style of old playing cards, the actual, the Jack and the Queen and the King and all that mirrored stuff, and they just turned it into Zelda characters in the same style. So it kind of felt homogenous. It felt like it belonged there. Of course, this is only an opinion, but my point being that I was way more happy having bought a fan-based product than an official one. So I think it all really comes down to quality. I would favor what is official and what is unofficial equally. The point is that criteria never even comes to, in my view, never even comes to be valid. It's all about the quality of the objects, and this is happening now, or for at least some years now, because there is no other generation so far that has grown up with games and reached adulthood who has started manufacturing products based on those games. Also, the fact that nerd culture has become mainstream, and fashionable and all that stuff. But that's a detail. My point remains that quality is the point. For example, I would not, with all due apology to the people who actually made amazing efforts to do what they did, the Hero of Time film, which Nintendo brought down because they sent a cease and desist.
Issued a
yes.
Order to cease and desist.
Yes. That film did not have quality. For example, this is my point in relation to something in the same world as Zelda. Whereas something, for example, as Theophany's album for Majora's Mask Music, although I find the orchestration not to be exactly what I would expect, it's amazing. And Twilight Symphony is amazing. And they made amazing work with it. And therefore, I commend them for what they've done, and I approve of what they've done, and I honestly don't care if it's official or not. Of course, Nintendo, as being a Nintendo, they have all the right to care and decide what to do with it, because it's based on their own work. But I think that's an issue only for Nintendo. I defend quality above everything, nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So here's a follow-up to that. You mentioned the Zelda movie there. I haven't had a chance to actually see it yet. Because they did get it up, if memory serves me correct, right? They did actually finish it.
Yeah,
it was
up on a website and free for everyone to watch. And considering there's so much free stuff that people can watch about Zelda online, and why did Nintendo go specifically to them to have them shut it down? I cannot think of any other reason than being for quality reasons, because Nintendo has been burned in the past, with bad cartoons and bad stuff like that, and but this was not licensed in any way, nor was it a deal with Nintendo or anything. So I cannot think of any other reason really. Maybe there was other reasons. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what could it?
We could only guess what their reasons is.
It seems like that Nintendo's position is simply, this is their intellectual property. This is a brand and it's a mythos they've spent decades cultivating, and they want it to be treated with respect. They want it accorded a certain dignity. Popular culture, we should remember, is it's the myth. It's what we have for our myths and legends of now. It's
Superman. Superman is the Hercules. Superman for America is the Hercules of ancient Greece, basically.
Yes. And it's the only difference now is that we have a much more formalized system of copyright and asserting the rights of authorship. Other than that, it's quite conceivable that people will take what they take to be their modern folklore, you might call it, and adapt it and express it in whatever means they find agreeable. But the only difference now is we're doing so not merely within the lifetime of the authors, because authorship is a complex idea when you're talking about a company and not just a person who was born, dies, and then a certain number of years lapse and their work is all in the public domain. You can all do with it as you please. but it's a subtler issue when the people who are responsible for authoring what you are deriving your work from are around and are there to judge it as anyone else might. So if the essential idea then is to be respectful to, is not subservient necessarily, but respectful to the author's intent.
Unless, of course, you're working on a parody, which is a whole other business.
Well, that's respect of a different kind. That's respect in the sense that that's kind of a salute, really.
Yes.
If you're parodying, unless it is truly awful and you are actually just panning it to display it for what it is. If it's something of reasonable production value and you're parodying it because it happens to make itself a target in some ways, you're according it the respect that
it is relevant enough.
It's relevant, yes.
It's relevant enough to be parodied. Yeah, that's something else. Yes, it's how was someone said how is it? If you start having enemies and you're going the right way, or in a sense, now that's the worst bit. That's the negative bit. The positive bit is if someone makes a parody. I forgot the exact wording, but it was something about if someone makes a parody of your work, then you are becoming relevant enough. You know, that
people can laugh about you.
Exactly. That enough people would know about it to understand it as a reference in comedy.
Yes.
That's basically it.
Okay. Well, here's the question. Going back to the playing cards, actually, you said that you easily looked at the fan-made ones and said that's the superior, product, right? That there's a certain amount of detail and love that goes into that, and so it makes me wonder when I see something like that. How come a company like Nintendo, who has this and they have people that are on board in their teams, and I know that marketing and all that stuff, they'll connect with the actual the people that necessarily make the games and all stuff, they license things out, but why don't you think we see more of those companies lend themselves out to veer off in a different way and make something like the fan made project did? How come we don't see those things?
Well, it's important to remember that Nintendo are a company and they do have an interest in remaining viable. So, on the one hand, there's a point at which risk-taking becomes it's not so much that it isn't in their interest as it's harder to justify. Some companies readily take risks. Valve, for instance.
But Valve is born of this new generation of companies.
Yes, there's that. Whereas companies like Nintendo, Sony, and others of their vintage, it's not that they're conservative. They're more careful with risk. They're judicious with risk.
Yes, they because Nintendo is from the 19th century. I mean, they were a company that made, interestingly, playing cards.
Right, I was just about to say, I would think that they'd be the first to want to do something like this.
Well, maybe their focus shifted. It's more like they are spending their most relevant resources on game design than anything else. So I would understand that, because if Nintendo suddenly dedicated a department of their company to just playing cards or whatever, maybe they would do amazing jobs. But They seem to want to keep the exact look of their merchandise, because as you can see in the cards that I've linked there, the official ones and the second ones, they fit exactly the art style of the games, because they are basically paying homage to those exact games in the exact way that they made them. So changing the style wouldn't make much sense.
The other part to this is Nintendo have probably realized that enough people will go out of their way to create these unofficial works that are not harmful in any way to their franchises, that they're just quite happy to let people fill that niche themselves. They don't feel the need to step in and invade this. They've probably, their crowning achievement is to create such a culture such that people are willing to, out of nothing more than love and nostalgia, do this essentially for free because they like doing it.
Well, the cards are sold.
The
but
cards,
yes.
the cards are sold, but nobody paid anyone to come up with the idea.
Exactly,
As far as we can
yes.
tell, somebody thought this is something that somebody might like. This could be a good thing. I will do it.
Yeah.
It's not more complex than that, and that is something Nintendo should be proud of. They've managed to cultivate that, and I think that's probably. I think Nintendo must see itself more than anything as a caretaker of its franchises. And in that sense, they don't feel that they themselves are the ones who should be taking the risks. They simply need to steer the franchise and keep it on course. Everyone around the franchise will take the risks. Everyone around them will be engaging in all of the grassroots artistry that the fan base is known for. Nintendo don't have to push that.
Yeah.
Okay. So then taking a sold product, someone's making money off of it, versus the fan-made movie, which was for free online.
Yes.
So that you would say that would go back to the whole cultivating what you think that they believe would still fall within the realm of having a certain level of quality and a certain level of control. So that, or at least that's how I would interpret it. So whether there's money involved or not, it's just about making sure that everything that is put out there falls within like a certain maybe personal standard that they have of their franchise. Would you agree with that, or what what would you say?
Yeah.
Certainly. I think that must be true. It actually, I made a joke earlier to Miguel that if he manages to corrupt the Western operatic tradition so perversely that they forget how opera was made before him centuries from now, there's some truth in that. That's how the conservatory tradition works. We only remember a few specific instances of artists in any field who we regard as exemplars. So we think of history as something that is entirely written in hindsight. It's not. People make history. People actively create narratives that we remember. And so for something the size of Nintendo and any of their franchises, it's in their interest to ensure that it's cultivated to the point that it will be remembered in a way they find dignified.
Honorable, which
Yes.
is very, very in line with their own culture. It's a matter of honor. You do not let what you do, what your business is, fall into
Disarray.
Disarray, yes. I was going to say a shit pit, but that's better.
And yet there's still a large amount of Rule 34 out there.
Well,
that's its own kettle of fish. And
it feels another niche entirely.
That grows bigger every day.
Yep.
So is there any other remarks that you would just like to make as a whole about the project, or just any sort of topic or opinion that you would like to just share, either one of you?
I'm tired of paper on my desk. I'm tired
Burn it.
of music paper on my desk. No, I'm not actually. I'm liking how it's going.
Yes.
I'm just anticipating the enormous amount of engraving that we still have to do, and it's giving me a headache. Because I really, really just want to, have this done, print it all, have a big book with a whole score, and go somewhere and talk to people who are already waiting for me. Like I told you, I went to Opera America, and they were excited about it. They were wondering if there was stuff in Europe, people in Europe interested, and I said yes. There is actually an opera house in Sweden, which is actually interesting in a project, but not as much as the Americans were. But the point is always the same. I told him I need permission first. So if I come to them with a full score and everything ready, if I just have the people who are interested, writing in or accompanying or whatever, or adding their own input, saying we would like to stage this, that might be leverage, might be might be weight in our favor to stage the work. But I'm dying to just move to the next physics. I'm so tired of writing.
well, just think, you could have to engrave it all with a pencil.
I could. No, you know what the composers did? They paid engravers.
Yes.
But not the case.
Or if you're Marla, you made your wife slave over it. But
Well, No.
We won't get into some of the illustrious misdeeds of the so-called exemplars of our field.
No, basically, yeah. I'm happy it's going away. I'm happy to have Liam here for the months. He's going away on Saturday, and that's it.
Yes.
Well, that's it. No, that's the beginning of something else.
Returning to the land of bushfires and Vegemite.
Exactly. So yeah.
I guess that brings up one final question is when the talks, to Nintendo were to begin, what is going to be your approach to that? How I've never really heard of people and their experience approaching Nintendo or actually finding a way to even get a hold of them. How are you going to go about doing that?
With any luck, it won't be us.
No. Well, yes, in a way. I can tell you right now, I have no idea. But I know it's possible. Because people just do that. The point that I have opera companies interested in the work is enough that most of them have a department that is used to deal with that kind of thing. Now, I cannot tell you how physically, how exactly one would get in touch with them in the best way, but I can tell you that the way I would approach it, the way I would state it is basically as a tribute to Koji Kondo and Toru Minegishi, which is what the work is, and first and foremost, because it molded my childhood enormously, and also as well, as I wouldn't call it an elevation, as a tribute to the game itself, to the whole thing. Basically, I cannot really think of it in any other way. It would be as a gift in some ways. I would be telling Nintendo, look, I love your stuff. I made this, and I would like to dedicate this to you, and I would like you to see it on stage. I would like everyone to see this on stage. In fact, it's made for everyone, and that's it. So I don't think I can go on without becoming cheesy. So I'll stop right here. But no, it's basically that. It's a tribute to Koji Kondo and Toru Minegishi and to everyone who worked on the game, because it was a major impact in my childhood. That's basically it. And I don't understand what they would have to lose unless they just want people to make money out of their work, which is okay, which I understand. But there's tons of people who do the same thing, and so
not operas.
Well, that's even better, because an opera is well, you mean the amount of resources needed to build an opera? You mean?
Not many people do operas about Nintendo franchises.
Well, that might be a point in our favor, maybe.
I think it would be. I think that would make it stand out, and the fact that also there's that level of quality put behind it. It's two unique things put together. Because quality is kind of a rare thing sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. It's what I hope. Well, I agree. Okay, now, see, this is where you start sounding. How do you say it? There's no term for it in English. Convencido in Portuguese. Not haughty. You say
condescending.
Yeah. Well, see,
arrogant.
Yeah, arrogant, because he said, like, there's not much quality around. And I said, oh, yes, quite. Yes, very well. Yes, yes, I agree. Now, it is, well, first, thank you for considering this quality. And secondly, I agree that there's not much of it around usually. And thirdly, if Nintendo does work by a policy of respecting quality, then I do hope they accept the fact that I've made an opera and I would like to change it. To stage it.
We humbly hope that they accept our humble offering.
Any more? You want to go any lower now? My miserable self humbly accepts that you, senpai, accept my offering, my sacrifice to the gods. I will immolate myself on stage.
I don't think you will.
I'm kidding. I mean,
90% of the profits go to Nintendo.
Well, that would be sad. That would be sad. But let me tell you, if that meant I could stage it, I would say yes.
It just means you got to raise ticket prices.
Yes.
Yes. That's it right there. I guess then the final second question is what if it does fall and they say no, like what what happens to it? Does it get put online, like all the work that you did? Do you sell like copies of all the paperwork that you did scanned? Like, what happens?
I honestly have no idea. If you saw the Q&As, you know that I answered that question exactly. I said there's absolutely no backup plan whatsoever. It's just it's what it is. It might serve as portfolio. I know, like if someone can ask, what is your music writing experience, and I take out a big fat volume of 700 pages, A3 size, and put on the desk, start reading. I really don't have a backup plan. I have no idea what to do with it if it doesn't go through, because giving the score away like that at this stage might not be such a good idea, but maybe later on. I don't know. I have no idea. Literally
Wait 70 years.
no. If the opera is staged, I would have the score be sold. The score could be sold, because then there would be I only need one reference staging. If a staging happens precisely the way it's supposed to be in my eyes, or even better, because I can't assume I know the best. I cannot assume that I know the best possible way of staging the work, of course. But if it happens within a specific frame that I respect and I actually like and really do like, that becomes the reference staging. Nothing else. So from that point on, the score is available, the music is available, everything is available. I would like to be able to eat, so I would like to have it to be sold and not given away freely. So, because the point of this is trying to get me out of it. Well, not the only point, but part of this is also trying to get me to become independent in a way. So, trying all of these things. But yes, the score would definitely become public in a commercial way if it's staged. If it's not staged, I have no clue.
And then what if Nintendo came and bought it from you? Like, they would just want to pay for it.
I would be very scared. I would be very scared.
Have you thought about that as a possibility?
I have, and I think I would prefer they say no. Because if they buy it, it means they can change it however they want. And that would be a harder blow on me than saying no. Because if they say no, I still have it the way it is supposed to be in my mind. Because if they buy it, they bought it. And they can do anything they want to it. And I would not be... Maybe if they didn't ask for exclusive rights. If I had the right to keep my own version of it, then sure. Of course, if I'm offered $1 billion, then yes! No. Actually, no. Okay, this is where it sounds a bit idealistic. I'm probably... I don't know. I don't know anything. But my knee-jerk reaction is, no matter how much I am paid, I would not be happy to sell this to Nintendo and lose any rights of reproduction or representation or anything.
Because it's like having your baby taken from you.
Yes, it is. Even though, then of course people will accuse me and say, "Oh, but it's just a lot of this music is not yours; it's by Nintendo." Yes, but I built my stuff in it along with it. The Majora's Mask is the incubator, and inside there's all of my stuff, and you're taking that away from me. It's like, no, I'd rather burn it and burn with it. But no, yes.
Even if that meant true financial independence and the ability to maybe help your family or anything like that, there's no part where you could maybe weigh out the options of, this is my baby, but there's a lot of good that can come from this.
Yes, what I said is, this is my knee-jerk reaction immediately would be no. But if it did guarantee an enormous amount of independence for a long time, then of course I would consider it, because we're all human. But it would
exactly.
But I would not be. I can assure you, I would not be happy with its fate, unless Nintendo made an amazing staging of it and respected everything I did. In that case, why buy it? Just tell me to do it, and I'll just give you whatever money from it you want.
There you go. That sounds like a good thing. That would be great if that's how it turned out to be.
Yeah, sure. My fear from buying is that suddenly I have no control over it whatsoever, and they can change everything they want. So, and even if Nintendo wants even if Nintendo actually accepts I would probably be under the creative direction of someone at Nintendo. I would have Aonuma or someone in the Zelda department come over in some way and look, you can't do this way because it doesn't represent the work well. You cannot do this way, And I would be a bit. I would have to concede. I could not do it in any other way. The thing is, I've always liked the way Aonuma thinks, and I would not really. I wouldn't.
You kind of go with it.
Yeah, I like the way he thinks. Of course, I don't know the man. I hope I get to meet him, but I don't know the man. So I can't.
The scene does not have enough Tingle in it.
Oh God! Oh God! No. Tingle is part of the Clocktown Choir, and so he has no solo part. He's the only character that I will not have dressed as in the game. He will be dressed as Perlo in Twilight Princess, because Perlo is Tingle's counterpart, basically. Basically, he has a normal Tingle outfit. He has the same hat, he has a watch, and all that stuff. But he doesn't have a single suit leotard. Come on, come on. It's a bit too much.
Yeah, it's not canon enough for me. I can't see it now.
It's not a matter. God, it's a visual cancer right there. Japan loves Tingle. I understand it perfectly because of the way they attach the characters, but. Just change the clothes. Okay, you can have him say whatever you want. Just don't wear that thing. And what else? Something I am afraid of actually is the age rating, because there are no true curse words in the opera. There's basic stuff like damn and sod and very simple
Blast.
Blast is too archaic. Yeah, blast is too archaic. But damn and sod are problematic in America in some places apparently. But my main concern is a scene in Act 2 concerning
certain people.
No, I already said it kinda, but I will say it vaguely. Concerning the pirates and the way that they treat men in the Zelda universe, the reason the Gerudo are the way they are. In my head canon, the Gerudo, the way how do you explain it? They only have women, children, or whatever. In my head canon, basically, they would call the male children. They would kill them. They would basically force. Well, I have to say it. They would basically rape men, have the child, and if it's a boy, they kill it. If it's a girl, they keep it. That's the way I see it. The way the Gerudo work, at least in the Zelda universe, if it were to be adapted in a realistic way. Of course, Zelda is Zelda, magic is magic, and therefore, poof, only one boy every 100 years, and etc. But the universe I'm trying to craft here is a bit darker, because it fits Majora's Mask, precisely. It fits the insanity of a world in decadence, a world in, near the end and all that stuff. So, Cafe gets to meet the pirates, and they're not very nice to him, but they also want to be very nice to him in another way. So it's the way it's done on stage. It's possible. Nothing is graphic. Nothing have to be graphic, but it's the way the whole thing flows. Might be very suggestive. But I'm pretty sure in Japan it wouldn't be a problem, but in American audiences maybe it would be rated to a certain age. But honestly, I think Majora's Mask is pretty dark, and I would expect it to an opera like this to be at least PG-13.
Yeah, you haven't done much worse than Wagner ever did.
Yeah, but Wagner is maybe not that visual. Depends on the production.
Depends on the production.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know enough.
Yeah. Essentially, the more faithful you get, the less children are supposed to be in the audience.
Okay. Well, then, there you go.
The libretto takes no prisoners.
Yes.
Yeah. That doesn't sound too bad. A PG-13 or even, putting a 16-year,
Yeah, 16.
rating.
Yeah, 16 maybe.
Look, if I can see, if I see families with children under the age of 10 being taken to stagings of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, then yeah.
Do you know
anything goes?
Do you know the Rocky Horror?
Yeah, I've never actually seen it, but I mean, I
commend it.
I
to
totally
you.
get what you mean by example.
Yes, if you are over the age of 10, I thoroughly commend it to you.
Yes, it's a bit excessive, but no, I'm just worried about people being picky, because people are very easily offended nowadays, and because in my eyes, I'm doing nothing absolutely horrifying. There's nothing excessive in Majora at all. But soccer moms. In 2 words, soccer moms. That's it. People who get.
Well, I think there's more people that are understanding out there that there are some people that are just willing to pick a fight, but I think the majority of people aren't. So I personally don't think it would be an issue. I think media makes it to be an issue.
Yeah,
where there really isn't one.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is people start thinking like the media, like what the media show them, and therefore you end up with incredible Tumblr fests or Twitter fests of attacks of whatever, from all sorts of things that are, of course, issues, but they are blown entirely out of proportion in all fields, everything. And it's something that has to be solved in a case by case basis, and people make it a sort of a war, and that doesn't help anything. People yelling at people doesn't change anything. Ask the mayor.
Good one. I guess the final question. I guess you can only have so many final questions. Is I noticed on your website there is a donate button.
Yes.
Okay. How do you feel about donations, and what would a donation actually go towards at this time?
A donation would go after my music would go to my music in general, because I cannot be asking for money from Majora directly. That's what happened when my old computer failed. I explained that I needed to write the opera faster, and that I was making more music, and I explained thoroughly that any donation sent to this will be towards a new machine, a new computer that would help me continue and everything. And they actually paid for a quarter of the machine. It was very cool. Not a quarter dollar, a quarter of the price of the machine. 1/4, yes. And so at this point, it's the same thing in the sense that it would go to benefiting me as an artist. I mean, I would provide you with more content. I would post more music online. It would not go directly to Majora, but Majora being part of my work, it would obviously feed everything related to it, from hardware for recordings to the actual feeding of the artist. Fuel.
Oh, you got to eat.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I totally forgot about that part.
Yes, alas, we have not quite transcended mortality to the point that we can survive entirely on abstractions.
We'll be there one day.
Yeah, one day. But yeah, so far
just not soon enough.
Yeah, until the day I can survive without eating, donations will have to be a thing.
Although people have done that before, actually.
What?
People have survived without eating.
Have they?
Yes.
Well,
Berlioz
tried something of the like. Close to.
Yes, but
there was one person who just ate the what do you call the little when you go to church, the little wafer, the
communion wafer.
The communion wafer. There was a person who just ate one of those every day and drank water and prayed and
well, I would say that the wafer and the water did a bit more than the rest, but that's hard to believe, but sure. Whatever floats their boat.
I'm just putting it out there.
No, but it's not impossible to survive on a little bit of bread and water every day. I mean, they fed prisoners bread and water, didn't they?
Yeah.
But you would probably
you would not be particularly healthy, but you would not necessarily die.
You probably
here's the thing too about the communion person. I can't remember if it was a man or a woman, but I'll just say it was a man. He survived, but not just survived. He lived the rest of his life for several years that way with no side effects, no health deficiencies, no weight loss. Actually, was like a fully functioning person, just like you and I, and it was just that water and once a day communion.
Well, that seems exceptional, I have to say.
I would have to express my disbelief. Belief or disbelief rests with me, as with everyone else. So I think something's fishy about that.
Or it's just incredibly lucky.
Yes, that was possible.
Just pray to the Nintendo gods.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll pray to the Nintendo gods, yes. But yes, that's it.
Excellent.
What?
So I'll put in the video a link to the donation to the Starving Artist page.
Oh, thank you,
.com.
thank you.
Not the official website.
Yes.
But yeah,
The
I will do that for you.
The official Starving Artists page. Yes, that's nice. Thank you. What was something else about the website? Oh, I'll just drop this here. If anyone has any sort of problems in the website, can't listen to music or whatever, do contact me, because the website is being done partly by me, partly by Liam, and only until recently have I made it work on iPads. So I'm not good at programming. In fact, I don't program.
And how do they contact you?
Oh well, then you have all the contact information needed at the website. Actually, you have a contact form, so you just have to write there.
Oh, perfect.
It's
then.
there.
Yep.
It'll
Excellent.
reach me. Yes, it'll reach me.
Okay. Well, perfect. I think that pretty much wraps this discussion up. I am going to be donating $50 to the cause.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
thank you very much.
no problem. That means I own 50% of this now.
No. That's not.
But no, I've been following this project for a very long time. It has been a pleasure to meet I guess meet, quote unquote, and talk to both of you. And so it's something that I really hope does one day, you get to achieve your dream and have it all become a reality. There are lots of us who do. I'm sure there are plenty of people who are also silent, who subscribe, watch your content, and just don't communicate, because it's easy just to observe something on the sidelines. And that's what I was doing for the longest time, was just observing. I was one of those people. I've been doing it for probably 2 years now. So I'm really excited for it, and I really hope it gets to appear. So I'm more than happy to put $1 or $2 or specifically 50 towards it, to do whatever I can, even if it doesn't become one, because your efforts are worth it.
Thank
from
you.
all of you.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. And so that is it. Hopefully, maybe we can do this again in the future.
Yes. I was telling you to thank him.
I did.
No, you didn't. You did it under me. I said thank you, and you said thank you at the same time, and it was like all clashy and weird. So let's do this again. Take two.
Take two. Okay. Well, where are we taking two from?
Thank you.
Thank you.
There. That's it. I couldn't hear his.
Perfect.
Yeah. But yes, thank you very much for having the interest in interviewing us. That'll be.
Well, thank you for doing it.
Yes.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
I think it was fun.
It was very much fun. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it started off a little dicey, a little racism here and there, but
Yes. Well, I'm glad we cut that, didn't we? I'm very, very glad we cut that off. Yes. Don't put that in.
No, I won't. Just to clarify, I won't.
Yes, I know. I'm gonna send you. Do you need for a WAV file specifically, or can they be MP3s?
Anything works. MP3s are great, but
WAVs are better.
WAV files fine. Yeah, I could do.
Yeah.
I got converters and everything. I could do everything.
No, it's not a matter of converting. It's a matter of usually WAV is a better quality. The thing is, WAV. The first WAV was 600 megabytes. This one is going to be this kind of the same.
How are you with FLAC?
With what?
With FLAC.
FLAC files.
FLAC. Oh, never actually used them.
Well then.
Okay, because they're lossless. Audacity can open them natively, so if you need to export a WAV out from them, there's always that. If you've got converters for MP3s, you should have them for FLAC.
Well, let's do it this way. I'll send you a FLAC. FLAC. You call it a FLAC?
FLAC, I thought it was.
I don't know. I never heard it pronounced. So. It's like GIF and GIF.
Well, no. I'm sure GIF is stupid.
Okay. Anyway, I'll send you FLAC files, and if you cannot work with those, I'll send you waves. Okay.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Or you could just send both.
Yes, because FLACs are way lighter. That's the only thing.
Oh, really? They are, despite being...
It's what it is. The free lossless audio codec.
Yes, free lossless audio
Nice.
codec. Yes. Well, do you have Audacity? I assume you do.
Yes, I do. That's how.
So,
I
yeah.
Audacity is native FLAC support.
So you can open it, and then you can export away from it, and it'll work fine. There, FLAC it is.
Let's do. Yeah, perfect.
All right. Well then.
All right, that seems.
Thank
to
you
work.
very much. Good night.
Good night.
No problem. You should have your donation now.
Oh, you sneaky bastard. Let me see.
Well, it's not like I just said it wasn't gonna do it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that stranger. Some stranger online talking to me from some country,
So offering you money.
offering
Here.
me money.
Here, have some money. Have some money.
I get emails like that all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lucrative business opportunities.
Do you happen to be?
No,
Do you
it's-
happen to be a prince of Nigeria?
I'm pretty sure I am.
Yes. Oh, thank you very
I am-
much. All right. Well, thank you, and thank you, and I think that's it basically.
Indeed.
Oh, well, if you ever do a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo or something, you can just put that towards it.
Yeah, I can. I would. I would like.
But I'm not.
What? Go on. Sorry.
But no, seriously, it is a donation. I don't expect
Yeah, of
anything.
course. Don't worry. I was actually mentioning that I would. Kickstarter would be a thing if Nintendo said yes, but it would need. But you need a specific type of audience building before it. It's complex. First, I can do Kickstarter because I'm a European, and I'm not in the UK, so I have to do Indiegogo. But yes, I was thinking about a Patreon for my general stuff, but I don't have enough exposure yet because you can tell the difference. My actual originals or other arrangements, they don't go beyond the hundreds of views. The Majora videos go above the tens of thousands. So that's the whole thing.
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
do.
okay, you're only noticing me because I'm doing Zelda. How about my original stuff? Well, I'll listen to that later. It's normal. People, it's normal if you were working with a fan base that already exists. Obviously, you have a wider audience.
Right. No, I totally get you. That's my area.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, I know exactly all how that works.
So, thank you. I'll have to cut the call right now. So, good night. Thank you for having
night.
us.
Hey, no problem. Good night, you two.
I used to when I was young. I'm not kidding. I memorized a 3-hour-long play in high school, and I can't memorize a single question a single answer for the Q&As anymore. The first Q&As were actually done from memory, but I realized I was losing so much time correcting wrong takes over and over and over again. I just said, fuck it, I'll just write on a piece of paper. Oh, can we swear?